Hi folks, so this is the follow-up lesson to the last one I did, which was about the chords of Mr. Blue Sky. This is the solo for Mr. Blue Sky. So Mr. Blue Sky is in the key of F. That's an F bar chord on the 8th fret of the A string. We're going to take these three notes and we're going to play them as an arpeggio. So the D string, the G string and the B string on the 10th fret. I'm going to play across that 11th fret of the B string and then back to 10th fret and then a little trill, so that's a play 10 on and off again, so that's all 10th fret apart from this bit here which is 11th fret. Now the scale for the song is the F major pentatonic, so that's 13th fret of the, well actually we don't use the 13th fret, let's go over the notes we're actually going to use. So 10th fret of the E string, 13th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the B string, 12th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the G string, 12th fret of the D string. Those are the notes we actually use in the scale. There's also this note which you just saw in that bit, and it comes in again just at the end. Now that note is a B flat, it's the 11th fret of the B string, and it works because at the point in the band are playing in the background, the chord they're playing has got a B flat in it, so that works, and the rest of it is just, like I say, an F major pentatonic scale. So we're going to start off with a bend. That's on the 12th fret of the G string, so we push up to the 14th fret. Now when you're bending, you want all three fingers on the string, all three fingers pushing, and as you push up, you sort of push down with your thumb here to kind of give you a point at which you can apply force, so you can push up with your fingers, all three fingers. So you're pushing up to this note here, which is the 14th fret, so it's a whole tone bend across 2 frets. Drop it back to the 12th fret and then play the 10th fret with your first finger. So that's your third finger bending. 10th fret. Now you'll notice on the tab there are dots above some of the notes. That means that they're staccato, which means that you play them short. And you'll also notice there's a few of these little, it's like a kind of a circle with a line coming off it, then it looks like a kind of a, almost like a kind of a reverse 7 with a squiggly top. That's a little rest, that means just that you take a wee pause at those points. So if you see that, that just means it's a wee pause. So bend, down, pause, 10th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the E string, 13th fret of the B string, and back to the 10th fret of the G string. So that's... So 10, lots of 10s, bend, down, 10, 10, 10, 13, 10. So like I say, bend, drop down to the 10th fret of the G string, 10th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the E string, 13th fret of the B string, 10th fret of the G string. And then another set of bends, 3 bends. So the first 2 bends, you're again on the 12th fret of the G string, bend, bend, but when you do the second bend, keep your string up, because the next thing you're going to play is going to be the string bent up. So bend, bend, and then play that note, drop it back to the 12th, and then take it off to the 10th fret, all on the G string. So 12 bend, 12 fretted, 10 fretted, down to the 12th fret of the D string, and then back to the 10th fret of the G string. So, and then another bend, and then do that same pattern, 12, 10, so 12 on the, well, there's a wee pause, and then 12 on the D, staccato on the 10th fret of the G string, and this time just play the 12th fret of the G string. So 12, 10, 12, 10, 12, so sorry, 12 on the D, 10 on the G, 12, G, 10 G, 12 G, 10 G, 12 again, and then another bend on the 12th fret. So that's a bend on the 12th fret, drop it back down, 12th fret, bend again, and this time take it off and play it on the 10th fret, all on the G string. And then 2 staccato notes, 10, 12 on the G string, and then 10 on the B string, and then a little 1 finger bend, a 1 fret bend, sorry. So using your first finger, you're just bending up to that note. So bend, drop, 12 on the G string, and then this note you're going to slide up from the 8th to the 10th fret. So 10, 12, and then 8, 10 slide. And then you do this. Now on the tab, it's if I listen to the record, it sounds like there are 2 guitars playing there. Now you can maybe try and replicate that by picking it and using your other finger to kind of pluck at the same time. So that's 10th fret. So first finger on the 11th fret of the B string. Sorry, third finger on the 11th fret of the B string. Second finger on the 10th fret of the E string. And then move your third finger down a fret, but then you're going to play 2 frets down from that on the E string. So maybe use your first finger. So your third finger's on the 10th fret and your first finger's on the 8th fret of the E string. And then you're going to do the similar pattern, but this time it's the 12th fret on the G string and the 11th fret on the B string with your third and second fingers. And you finish off with a little bar across the G and the B string on the 10th fret. Those 2 notes. But that's quite hard to do, especially quickly. So what I would recommend at this point is doing what? Is doing a bend here instead. It's not quite the right harmony, because if you listen to the harmony on the record, it is definitely those 2 notes. But this is a lot easier to play. So what I'm doing is I'm putting my pinky on the 10th fret of the E string. I've got my third finger on the 10th fret of the B string, and I'm pushing up just a little bit. And then I'm dropping it whilst keeping my pinky in the same position. So it's like almost like you're doing that. So 11, 10, like on the tab, but this time just your third and fourth finger on the 10th fret, push up with your third finger on the B string, and then drop back down, but keep your pinky on the 10th fret. So you're now playing both strings on the 10th fret. And then put your first finger across the 8th fret of the B and E string. And then your third finger across the 10th fret. Did I say 10th? That's 8th fret. And then 10th fret of the B and G string. So it goes bend, drop on the 10th fret of the B and E string, 8th fret of the B and E string, and then 10th fret of the G and B string. Now that's not exactly right, but it's certainly a lot easier to play. And the harmonies work pretty well as well, so it still sounds like it's a harmonized guitar part. So I'll play through it again. Now this slide you do just before you do that last, I think it is doing that on the record, but that might be something again that in the heat of the moment, if you're playing it in front of people, you might forget to do. And if you do forget to do it, it's not a big deal. But I mean, it does sound right, but still, you know, for the sake of that little, you can just not do it. So I suppose I'm giving myself an excuse in case I forget to play when I do it again. So here's the solo slowly, but with the whole solo with me saying nothing at all, hopefully. So. Get the harmonies in, fine. If you don't, then just play the single notes again, fine. So that is the solo for Mr. Blue Sky. Now I have to say that I'm kind of I'm not very familiar with it, even though I've been playing it for 15 years, because I was playing it completely wrong. But when I started doing some research for this video to see how to play it, I realized I've been playing it completely wrong. So that's why, even though it's not a difficult solo, I have to say sometimes when you play these kind of solos live, if they're kind of short and fairly nondescript, they can be quite hard to remember. And most times when I'm playing this with my group, I get to solo and think, oh my goodness, how does this go? But it generally goes all right because it's not a difficult solo to kind of play by ear. And if you make a mistake, you can correct it fairly quickly, and you can tell if you've done it wrong, because it's one of these songs I've been hearing for goodness knows how many years. But just goes to show you can think you know what you're doing until you realise that you're actually completely wrong. But so that's the solo for Mr. Blue Sky. I hope that was helpful and wasn't too confusing, and I'll see you next time.